Welcome back to Investing Talk podcast.
Good to be here.
Today, we're doing a focused exploration of Gelteq, ticker symbol GELS.
Yes, the Australian biotech.
That's the one. We've got a mix of reports, some announcements. Our job is really to unpack what these tell us about the company.
Okay, so what's the core story here, based on what you've seen?
Well, they're based in Melbourne, founded back in 2017.
Relatively young then.
Yeah, and their whole thing is these gel-based oral drug delivery systems.
Yeah, trying to solve those classic problems, swallowing pills, bad taste, maybe getting the dosage more accurate.
Seems like it. And they're not just sticking to one area. Pharma, over-the-counter, nutraceuticals.
Oh, interesting. Animal meds and sports nutrition, too, according to this.
Right, so a pretty broad spread. Makes you wonder if that's a strength or potentially spreading themselves a bit thin.
That's a fair question. Diversification versus focus. But the core seems to be that technology.
Absolutely. The sources really hammer home this patented gel delivery system as, a major strength.
A competitive advantage, they're calling it.
Yeah. Seems central to their whole value proposition.
It could be, if it genuinely makes medication easier or more effective to take, especially for certain groups. Kids, older folks.
Makes sense. Okay, so let's look at some recent stuff. There was news about their sports scale brand.
The pickleball sponsorship, February 2025.
That's it. Official sponsor for the Pro Pickleball Tour in Australia and New Zealand.
Pickleball is certainly booming. It's a visibility play, trying to get that brand name out there, especially in the sports nutrition space.
Do these kinds of sponsorships usually move the needle much?
It really depends on how they leverage it. Just slapping a logo isn't enough, but it signals an effort to build a direct consumer connection for that brand.
Okay, something else timely, a lockup agreement.
Ending today, April 22nd.
Right, for shares held by insiders, directors, big shareholders since the IPO last October.
So 6 months post-IPO, standard practice.
What does that actually mean for the stock now?
Well, potentially, it means some of those insiders could start selling shares they couldn't sell before.
Which could mean?
More shares available on the market. Simple supply and demand suggests that could put some downward pressure on the price. Short term, maybe.
But not necessarily a disaster.
Not at all. Depends on why they might sell, if they even do, and what the overall company outlook is. If things are looking good, the market might just absorb it. Definitely something to watch, though, trading volume-wise.
Got it. Then there was this production news from late last year.
The 400,000 units.
Yeah, 400,000 units of their gel solution produced in November 24.
With shipments expected around January 25.
And that covers nutraceuticals, sports, anti-aging, weight loss stuff.
It's a decent volume. It shows they're actually, making stuff at scale, not just R&D.
Moving towards commercial reality.
Seems like it. It suggests they have the operational side getting into gear.
And speaking of getting into gear, they appointed a president of U.S. operations, Adam Bendel.
Right. Specifically to scale up the U.S. business.
That feels like a pretty clear signal, doesn't it? Targeting the U.S. market seriously.
Definitely. Putting dedicated leadership in place for a key market like the U.S., that's a strategic move. Shows intent.
And it ties in with other mentions like increased orders from their biggest U.S. customer.
That's always a good sign. Repeat business, bigger orders, validation.
Plus, plans for new product launches early this year, 2025.
And launching that sports gel brand we mentioned.
And a distribution deal in Asia-Pacific.
Okay, so quite a bit of activity. U.S. focus, new products, international expansion. Seems like they're pushing on multiple fronts.
All pointing towards potential growth, you'd think.
That would be the goal, yes. Building revenue streams, expanding their reach.
Now let's talk money. The reports we have don't give us, the latest quarterly revenue or EPS figures.
No, for that detailed stuff, PE, debt to equity, cash flow, you really need to hit the official sources.
Right. The company's own investor relations site, SEC filings, if they're relevant, financial databases like GuruFocus or MacroAxis were mentioned.
Standard procedure. Our discussion is based on these reports, but that deeper financial dive needs the primary sources.
Essential for anyone seriously looking at investing.
Absolutely.
But there were a couple of financial breadcrumbs. A 27% return on capital employed was mentioned.
ROCE, yeah. It's a profitability metric, looks at how well they use their capital to generate profit. 27% sounds pretty decent on the surface.
And one source apparently predicted the stock price could jump nearly 30% by May 2025.
Oh, interesting. Suggesting it might be undervalued?
Maybe. But then the same source noted current sentiment is bearish and the stock is volatile.
Okay. So A prediction of upside, but the market's currently nervous. That's not uncommon.
Creates a bit of a mixed picture.
It does. It means there's potentially opportunity, but also risks or uncertainties the market is factoring in. Highlights why you need to look beyond just one number or prediction.
So, market position. They didn't explicitly say if Gelteq is a leader or just starting out.
No, but they're in biotech and pharma. That's always competitive.
Big names like AstraZeneca and Pfizer were mentioned as like general industry players.
Right, though maybe not direct competitors on this specific gel delivery niche.
It seems like that unique tech is how they plan to find their space.
Exactly. Differentiation through technology. Carve out niches where their gel offers a real advantage over standard pills or liquids.
Okay, let's weigh the opportunities against the risks mentioned.
On the plus side, definitely that U.S. expansion drive.
And partnerships, like the one with Monash Innovation Labs.
Yeah, collaborations can be key in biotech, and the focus on white label solutions too.
Supplying their gel tech for other companies' products.
Precisely. Lets them leverage the tech without building every brand themselves, potentially faster scaling.
But on the flip side, risks.
Well, relying heavily on those partnerships and customer orders creates dependencies. What if a big customer walks?
Good point. And being a biotech.
Always regulatory risk. Getting approvals, changes in healthcare rules, that whole landscape, it's inherent to the sector.
So a lot hinges on execution and navigating those hurdles.
Definitely. Execution on partnerships, on expansion, and getting through any necessary regulatory hoops.
We didn't see specific analyst ratings or like public opinion scores in these documents.
No, not the latest takes. But you could infer some optimism from the expansion moves and production increases.
But for current sentiment, you'd need to check financial news, analyst reports.
That's right. Keep an eye on those updates for how the market is currently viewing them.
So looking ahead, what are the main things to watch? Upcoming catalysts.
I'd say new product launches are key, especially into that sports scale brand. See if it gains traction.
And earnings reports, obviously.
Absolutely. Need to see if all this activity translates into actual financial results, revenue growth, path to profitability.
And any news on the regulatory front regarding their technology would be big too, I imagine.
For sure. Any major approvals or setbacks there would be significant.
Okay, so wrapping this up, based on these sources, it looks like Gelteq is an interesting biotech play. They've got this unique delivery tech.
Making clear moves to grow, especially in the U.S., and with specific product lines, like sports nutrition.
But it comes with the usual biotech risks, regulatory dependency on partners.
And the need for a much deeper look into the actual financials from official filings. Can't stress that enough.
Right. This gives a good overview, a starting point. The recent activity, especially U.S. expansion and sports scale, seems like the immediate stuff to track.
What's the most maybe compelling or concerning thing that jumps out at you from all this?
For me, it's probably that breadth pharma, OTC, nutraceuticals, animal health. The potential is huge if they crack it, but the risk of losing focus seems real too. How about you?
I think it's the execution risk tied to the U.S. expansion and the white label strategy. Those seem critical for scaling, but getting them right is tough. Lots of moving parts.
Definitely provides a solid foundation for anyone interested, though. Further digging required, as always.
Indeed.
Well, thank you for helping us unpack Gelteq today based on the information provided.
My pleasure.
And for everyone listening, please subscribe, like, and drop a comment. Let us know what other companies or topics you'd like us to explore.